Hello, everyone. My name's Travis Straw, and this is Chaos Monkey. Welcome to the second episode of the wonderful podcast that you love with all of your heart and soul. I'm Travis Straw. I already said that. So today, make sure to prepare your mind for something that's very controversial. It's going to blow your mind a little bit, and hopefully I don't offend you too much. But it's about the beloved film, the cartoon film, Beauty and the Beast by Disney, the fantastic Disney studio. And like I said, lots of people like it. I like it. I like Disney. I'm not a crazy Disney fan in the sense that I go multiple times a year to the theme parks and all that. I do enjoy them, and I'll probably go soon. But hey, no hate. Go be obsessed. That's awesome. So my opinion of Beauty and the Beast is that I don't buy what Disney is trying to sell me. And as you know, the story is Belle lives in a small town, and she's a little different. You know, she reads books and has a interesting father, an inventor, and then she ends up going and basically living with this beast lord for a while. We all know the story. But first, I'm just going to start out by, there's two different stories that I want to go over. So let's start with this one. There was a young man who was born into incredible wealth. And this person was a huge jerk, treated everyone really bad. If you weren't rich, and if you weren't from where he was from, this person was absolutely terrible. And also very good looking, which is fine. And so he acted so terribly that it caught the attention of a local magician of sorts. I think a gypsy or a witch. I forget which one it is. A female sorceress who was like, hey, man, this can't keep going. This guy needs to learn a lesson. And so she disguised herself with the magic that she knows how to use as a haggard old woman to kind of like test and see, hey, is this guy really this much of a jerk? And she goes and knocks on his castle door, and she asks for shelter, I think, something very basic that any one of us would be like, yeah, sure, whatever. But this person did not do that. The very good-looking young rich man was like mean to her, and she was like, all right, this person didn't pass the test. She turns back into I think a good-looking woman. I don't know. I guess that doesn't matter. And proceeds to curse him and his entire staff, which is a lot of people, apparently. She's like, your staff is going to be furniture now, and you're also going to be like this hideous monster beast, because that's how you are inside. You're really not a nice guy. And also, this is all in the timeline of this rose. You know, once this rose dies, it's going to take a while, but once it all, wilts, you guys are going to be like this forever. And that's your bad because you're a big jerk. And so with that time, apparently the beast was in total cursed 10 years or something like that. And within that time frame, the beast did no introspection. He didn't grow. He didn't try to fulfill the guidelines. He literally was like emo in the West Wing. I think it was the West Wing, where everyone's like, "Don't go in there." He doesn't like it because it's his room where he like cries and woe is me, and he doesn't do anything until, like literally, if I was one of his helpers and I'm like like a shoe or like a cabinet, I'd be like, hey guys, well maybe we should talk to him. But there's no talking to him because he was always so emotional and like being emo in the West Wing. And so it wasn't until he literally like captured Maurice, Belle's dad, put him in a prison, not a heated prison, and it's very cold, and was like, hey, you'll probably die here. And then Maurice is like, well, that's not great. And the only reason that didn't happen is because Belle was like, who is an amazing character, very considerate, very worried about her father, who she loves, goes and finds him, and almost immediately is like, hey, take me instead. And Maurice is like, no, that can't happen. And it does happen. And the beast doesn't show any growth there either. It's like, okay, so the beast still sucks. And this Rose is like about to be dead. So he's like, of course I'll take a female prisoner. And you're like, oh, well, they fell in love. It's like, no. He took the female prisoner and then sent her dad in this like magical, whimsical, I think it was like an enchanted, was it? I don't know. He got back to the village. And Belle proceeded to be a prisoner. And then she was forced to go to dinner with this guy, to wear the clothes he wanted, to dance with him, like under duress. And then the furniture convinced her to, hey, he's not that bad of a guy. Like, not even the beast. Like, the beast was tricked into becoming a better person. Like, this guy, it took, like, the collective effort of all of his helpers. And then somehow they're like, hey, Belle, come on. He's like a really nice. They managed to convince her. And we're talking about major trauma here. Like, Belle, are you kidding me? Like, first off, you're the prisoner of a beast man. Probably the first beast man you've ever seen in your life. So that it doesn't seem, he could probably tear you to shreds. True. 100%. I'd be terrified. Not only that, but the whole house is run by enchanted furniture, and I'm not thinking that Belle's really had a lot of experience with all this stuff. Grade A trauma. So, of course, like, her mental mechanisms are going to pivot for a more comfortable scenario, and she will learn to love her captor. I mean, Stockholm Syndrome. I think that's like the meme of Beauty and the Beast, because like in the end she falls in love with this beast that isn't even at one point good, really. Like, he becomes sweeter after like seasons. Like, you see them in the snow and you see them in the spring, and like, she's there for a long time, which is way enough time to convince someone you're not actually a huge jerk. And of course she succumbs to it, and it's like, wow, I just love this. I love it. And meanwhile, Maurice goes back to town and is like, hey, like, this stuff's going on. Then he gets put in, everyone's like, you're crazy. And then somehow I think Belle is released, and then she shows them with the mirror, and then like everyone rallies. Long story short, the beast in its like the final hours of this Rose, like literally the last moments of the 10th year, like the procrastinated to the deadline, kind of like Gaston comes in and hurts him a lot, and then beast kills Gaston but sustains some injuries, and like he basically dies but is reborn. He's reborn, and for some reason, I'm not sure what he proved, other than it takes a whole army to make him a good person. And then he turns back into this very good-looking man. And if you think for 1 second that I believe that person's going to be good, like, no, I don't. Because he's going to get back in the swing of things. Also, the castle becomes like super dope. All of his people are back to normal. He's back to normal. Belle's like, oh my God, this guy's so hot. And that's the end of the movie. And that's how I see it. When I watch a movie, I don't want to have these questions in my head of like, what's really happening here? Why are they trying so hard for me to like this beast that was literally turned into a beast because he's a jerk, and then he continues to be a jerk. Like 90% of the movie, he's a jerk. And then, okay, so that's that. And then I want to tell you the story about the other guy in the movie who, honestly, Gaston, I think, and this is, not a popular thing to think, is not that bad compared to the Beast. Okay, and follow me. Don't stop listening now. This is where it gets good. So Gaston, this is his story. He was born of moderate means. Like he didn't have a lot of money. He joined the army and was successful in it. He didn't die. At that point in time, lots of people died in war. I mean, not that they don't now. I just, it was just less, it was lots of lining up in lines and shooting at each other. And that's wild. Hold on. So he makes it, does his term, serves his country, which my heart goes out to because I'm a veteran and service is good, I think. And he comes back to this town, and they love him. He becomes this champion of the town. Like literally nobody in this town but Belle and Maurice they all love him. Maurice and Belle are the only people that are like, I don't know about that Gaston guy. Like no one is on the fence here, to my recollection. So Gaston comes back. Whole town loves him. He's an excellent hunter. He's obviously an athlete, great looking dude. And I'm saying, I'm not saying he's perfect. I think that Gaston is flawed in a way that I'm used to. We're all flawed, and for him, he's very vain, and he was a narcissist. But I mean, the Beast was too, and he got cursed for it. But you know what? Gaston was a narcissist, and no one in the town thought he was a jerk, which means to me that even though he was into himself, these people had to have a reason to really like Gaston. I mean, like they sang a song about him in the bar. Like that wasn't the first time they sang that song either. And at no point is there any question about that. So he has to be, in some way, to have so much affection, a good dude. And he may be packaged in a boorish body of a dude who seems to have it all. But I mean, this guy is like you or me, and he likes challenges. And that's why, even though he can have any woman in this whole town, like that's also apparent, he sets his eyes on Belle. And you may be like, well, it's because Gaston, everyone loves him. He wants the thing he can't have. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Because Gaston has never done it the easy way. He worked for his life. And now he's at a part of his life of moderate success. This town loves him. And he's like, you know what? I don't know why this person doesn't like me, but I like her. And even if it's based in that, I honestly think that Gaston and Belle would be a good couple. And it's only because Belle would challenge the crap out of Gaston and be like, hey, you can't be going around like being so into yourself. But honestly, again, if any one of us had a town that was so into us that they're like, yeah. And then when Gaston's like, hey, I'm the best, no one, da, 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 like all that, like, and everyone's like loving it. Like, I'd be the same way. You would be too. But I mean, in the end, Belle and Gaston would help each other grow. And you may be like, how can Gaston help Belle grow? It's, well, Belle's not perfect either. Even though she is compassionate and everything, she's a little judgy, and she rejects society. And I think that, and of course at that point, like being a woman was very difficult, and it wasn't encouraged to read or anything. And that's a lot of the villain things about Gaston, is that he's like, why do you read these books? But Gaston wasn't terribly educated either, and honestly probably didn't know why. And he's like, why aren't you into me? Blah blah blah. And I think that's a key part, that even though Gaston is supposed to be the villain of this movie, he was not cursed. He treated everyone in the town well enough for them to adore the crap out of him. And so nice. Like, he is not a good talker. He is not a swooner. He could have handled the way he talked to Belle different, but could he have? It's just the way he is. He needs someone to check him. No one else is. And that's why I think they would be a good couple. But regardless, I'm not going to go on about that anymore. So basically, and also Maurice is not a good inventor. Like in the movie, you don't see him invent anything that's like good. He invents something that's damn near a monster, like the chop wood machine that didn't work and like seemed very dangerous. And Maurice did seem a little crazy. So like, and not Gaston wasn't the only one who was like suspicious of Maurice. Like literally the entire town was like, yeah, that guy's a little crazy. Enough for him to be later on in the movie put into some kind of holding facility for being crazy, I think it was. And and the reason that was is because Maurice came back and was like, yo, my daughter's being kept by this like giant beast man with talking furniture. And everyone's like, yeah, man, you're crazy. You're a crazy person. And honestly, I would too. Everyone would. Especially at that time. It's like, what are you talking about, man? There's no such thing as that. And then Gaston, having lots of affection for Belle, and honestly, he wants her to be his wife. And again, even if it's on the platform of not understanding why he likes her and not understanding blah blah blah, like I still think that's okay. Like him choosing Belle is interesting to me. Like, because he could have, if he was truly a narcissist and if he was truly into himself, he would just disregard her and take the three super hot blonde ones, in the scenes. And but he didn't. He challenged himself to get something that was different. But anyways, he finds out that it was all real, that there is a beast man in a castle that captured Maurice, that captured Belle, that has all of that. And he is called to action. And this is a man of action, served in the army, hunter extraordinaire. This is his wheelhouse. And even though he's not emotionally intelligent or he's not good at talking enough to say why he wanted to do it, but he rallied the entire town who was like, hell yeah, let's go do this. Because again, a giant beast lord man is not... Like, you'd be terrified. I'd be terrified. If I saw it in that mirror, I'm like, what is that mirror? Is that a monster? And then I would probably go and want to contribute. Like, that's not bad. Them wanting to kill the beast isn't bad. That's normal. Like, that's a threat. Like, the beast literally captured 2 people from their town. And then, like, yeah, all of that. So... Gaston also is probably thinking, this is my opportunity. This is my wheelhouse. If I succeed here, there's no way Belle wouldn't take me as her husband. It's a way of proving himself. And I don't think his motivations here were villainous. I do not. And he goes and he dies in defense of his town that he loves, the people in it, and in defense of his love for this woman. And he dies. Like, he straight up dies. Trying to kill this abomination of a man who was literally cursed because he was a huge douchebag. And for most of the movie, was still a huge douchebag. Like, Gaston was never that big of a douche. Sorry. I don't think he was. And I may be missing some key points. Maybe at one point, like, Gaston killed a baby or something, and I missed that. But I'm talking about, like, the classic cartoon. And that's my viewpoint, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I think Gaston is, honestly, it could be written in any other film. And if Disney didn't push that villainous thing on you, because I can't name one villainous thing. Like he didn't, what is famous villain? Like, Scar killed his brother in Lion King. Huge villain. 100,000%. Scar is an incredible villain. Murdered his brother. Took over his entire kingdom. Scar is an expert villain. Gaston did not do anything like that. If anything, the Beast did things that were way more scary, way more villainous. And that's just wild to me. So that's it. That's about the wrap up for Chaos Monkey episode 2. Tell me what you feel. I get it. If you disagree, you don't have to agree with me. But hopefully you see my points. I just don't. Nope. Like in any other Disney movie, Gaston would be the prince. Good looking. Served his country. Man of the people. In love with someone. Also kind of humorlessly flawed. That's a Disney prince. It is. Okay. Anyways, thanks for listening. My name's Travis Straw. I'm an artist in San Francisco. And I like to talk on microphones. So have a great evening, morning. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.